November 24th, 2025, Japan's skies are tense. As Defense Minister Koizumi confirms new missile deployments on Yonaguni Island, radar screens light up. A Chinese high-altitude surveillance drone is slicing between Taiwan and Japan. Within minutes, F-15J fighters scramble to intercept. Was this just another border probe, or a deliberate test at the riskiest moment? The real stakes begin here. November 24th, 2025 began with Defense Minister Koizumi stepping onto Yonaguni Island, Japan's westernmost outpost, just 110 kilometers from Taiwan's coast. By late morning, his visit was no longer routine. The Ministry of Defense issued a statement confirming plans to deploy a Type 03 Chusam medium-range surface-to-air missile unit on the island. Koizumi's message was clear. Japan would strengthen air defense in response to rising Chinese military activity in the region. As Koizumi addressed local officials and defense personnel, radar operators in the Southwest Air Defense Sector tracked an unidentified aircraft entering the narrow corridor between Yonaguni and Taiwan. The signature matched a high-altitude unmanned aerial vehicle suspected to be Chinese. The drone maintained a steady course, flying south for roughly 250 miles before turning east, then looping back along the same path. Its presence was unmistakable on open-source flight tracking overlays released later by the ministry. Within minutes of detection, the order was given at Naha Air Base in Okinawa. F-15J fighters, the backbone of Japan's Southwest Air Defense Force, were scrambled. The jets accelerated west, covering 300 kilometers toward the incident corridor. Official statements withheld the exact response time, but the sequence underscored Japan's readiness. The fighters were airborne before the drone could leave the sensitive airspace between Yonaguni and Taiwan. The ministry's public record outlined the timeline. Drone detection, scramble launch, and fighter intercept all occurred on the same day as Koizumi's announcement. Each move was logged, each action tied to a clear sequence of cause and effect. The corridor between Yonaguni and Taiwan, always a strategic fault line, now became the stage for a direct test of Japan's air defense posture. The facts left little ambiguity. Political announcement and military response unfolded in near real time, with the world watching. Japan's ability to react in real time to aerial incursions rests on a layered defense network spread across its southwestern islands. At the heart of this system is the Type 03 Chusam, a medium-range surface-to-air missile battery designed for rapid engagement of hostile aircraft, drones, and cruise missiles. Each Chusam unit mounts 6 interceptors on an all-terrain truck, supported by radar that can track up to 100 targets at once and engage a dozen simultaneously. Its reach, 50 to 60 kilometers in range, and up to 10 kilometers in altitude, creates a wide defensive bubble that covers not just Yonaguni, but the critical airspace between the island and Taiwan. Layered defense. This is only one layer. Patriot Pack 3 batteries stationed throughout Okinawa Prefecture add another shield, optimized for intercepting ballistic and cruise missiles at higher altitudes. Offshore, Aegis destroyers patrol the surrounding waters, their radars and missiles extending Japan's air defense far beyond the coastline. All of these systems feed data into a national command network, linking ground-based radars, airborne early warning planes, and allied US sensors. The result is a defense grid that can spot, track, and respond to threats crossing the gap between Taiwan's air defense zone and the open Pacific. Command network: the Japan Air Self-Defense Forces F-15J fighters are the rapid response arm of this system. With a service ceiling near 65,000 feet, these jets can climb to meet most surveillance drones operating at high altitude, including China's WZ-7. Launched from Naha Air Base, they can reach the Yonaguni to Taiwan corridor in under 20 minutes. Their air-to-air missiles, guided by ground and airborne radar, are capable of targeting drones or manned aircraft at the edge of Japanese airspace. Rapid response. The planned Chusam deployment on Yonaguni will close one of the last major gaps in Japan's intercept envelope. Once operational, the Yonaguni battery will create overlapping coverage with existing systems, making it far harder for any aircraft, manned or unmanned, to pass undetected or unchallenged. For Tokyo, this layered defense is not just about hardware, but about demonstrating the resolve and capacity to respond instantly to any incursion in one of the world's most sensitive air corridors. China's decision to fly a high-altitude drone through the corridor between Yonaguni and Taiwan on November 24, 2025 was anything but accidental. The aircraft's flight profile matched the WZ-7 Soaring Dragon, a platform recognized by its joined wing design and built for long-endurance surveillance at altitudes above 18,000 meters. With a range of up to 7,000 kilometers and the ability to loiter for more than 10 hours, the WZ-7 is engineered to map radar coverage, intercept communications, and relay targeting data in real time. Beijing has never publicly acknowledged the sortie, but the timing and route left little doubt among analysts about its intent. Regional security scholars point to a pattern. Chinese drones and reconnaissance aircraft often appear during moments of heightened political activity and military announcements. November 24th fit this mold exactly by sending the drone through the corridor. Just as Japan's defense minister confirmed new missile deployments, China was running a response time test, measuring how quickly Japanese forces could detect, track, and challenge an intruder in one of the world's most closely watched airspaces. Every radar ping, radio call, and fighter scramble became data for Beijing's military planners. The response was swift. F-15J fighters from Naha Air Base intercepted the drone before it could exit the corridor, while the Ministry of Defense kept exact response times classified. Open-source flight data and expert analysis suggest the intercept occurred well within the window China sought to probe. The incident mirrored previous Chinese operations. Routine flights ramped up during sensitive periods, always calibrated to avoid direct confrontation, but always pushing the boundaries of airspace sovereignty and military readiness. For Beijing, these missions serve several purposes. They collect signals on Japan's radar and command networks, stress test the readiness cycle of air defense units, and send a political message about China's ability to operate at will near Taiwan and Japanese territory. By denying official comments, China preserves ambiguity, leaving Japan and its allies to draw their own conclusions about intent, while quietly refining its own playbook for future encounters. On Yonaguni, the sound of fighter jets overhead is no longer a rare event. For the island's residents, each scramble brings a reminder that their home sits on the front line of a growing military standoff. The new missile battery, announced by Defense Minister Koizumi, promises greater security, but it also raises new anxieties. Older residents recall Okinawa's history as a military outpost, where the presence of bases once promised safety, but also made the region a target. Today, the arrival of the Type 03 Chu-SAM system and the regular presence of US Marines at a forward arming and refueling point have stirred debates in local council meetings and family kitchens alike. Fishing boats from Yonaguni's small harbors now operate under the shadow of increased air patrols and restricted zones. Fishermen worry about losing access to traditional grounds if military activity expands. Tourism operators, already facing uncertainty, expressed concern that the island's image as a quiet getaway could be replaced by headlines about missile deployments and foreign drones. Some residents voiced support for the new defenses, seeing them as a necessary shield against unpredictable threats. Others question whether each new radar or missile truck simply increases the risk that Yonaguni could be drawn into a conflict not of its own making. The pace of military responses is another source of unease. Japan Air Self-Defense Force scramble statistics show a steady climb, more than 850 intercepts in a recent year, up sharply from a decade ago. Each rapid launch shortens the margin for error, compressing the time available for pilots and commanders to verify targets and avoid mistakes. Defense analysts describe this as a sensor-to-shooter dilemma. When seconds count, the risk of miscalculation rises. With no clear rules governing drone encounters in disputed airspace, a single misread radar contact could trigger a crisis. Questions hang in the air. How far will the cycle of probe and response go before an incident spirals out of control? Can new deployments deter aggression without making Yonaguni a first target? For the people who live here, the answers are not theoretical. They play out in daily routines, in the hum of engines on the horizon, and in the uneasy knowledge that the world's next crisis could begin just beyond the island's rocky shore. Asia's skies grow more crowded, and every test sharpens the edge. Today, a single drone can redraw red lines in minutes. The region's next move isn't just strategy, it's a signal to the world. Tension isn't history here, it's the present tense. What would you do next?